Hi everybody, welcome to the studio. I'm Lindy Whitten. Today I'm going to be talking about some tips for creating good reflections. I'm using this reference photo up here of Lake Judd. It's got some beautiful reflections in it, and it gives us a lot of opportunity to look at a few different things that you should consider when you're painting reflections. So I'll be using Unison half sticks just for this, and the Fontaine pastel mat, and a vine charcoal to block in the major shape. So that's what I'm going to do first, and that's what I would do tackling any subject, is just block in the main shapes. Sometimes I'll do it with a wash, sometimes I'll do it with a dry pastel blocking, but here I'm just using vine charcoal to set up the major values and shapes so that it's easy to continue. So that will all go in with the vine charcoal, just referring back to the photo to look for those value masses there. Not any real detail going in this stage, and just proceed as you would normally. Then I'm going to take a ruler. I just think this is a really good tip to make sure that you get the length of your reflections correct. Sometimes it's difficult when you try and eyeball it, so I just put in a few major marks, making sure I've got the same distance above and below that horizon line. Of course, the length of your reflections will vary depending on where your eye level is, but here it's at the horizon, so everything will be the same above and below. I'm moving on to the bottom layer, what I call the bottom layer, which is what you can see through the water, and it will be, rocks or tree branches that are submerged or silt, whatever it happens to be. In this case, it's got quite a few rocks in it, and if the water is clear, I'll be able to see those. The water in this lake is quite clear. It's stained with tannin, which gives it that golden kind of colour, but that stain is quite transparent, so I can see the bottom layer very clearly here. That's the first thing to consider. Get the bottom sketched in, and when you're doing this, you'll note that I'm not being too pernickety about where things go, but I am starting to strengthen up and put some shadow areas around the rocks. So you will need to do that to anchor them to the underlying soil, sand, silt, whatever happens to be in the water body, so that they look real and anchored. So I'm popping those shapes in now. They're not going to stay quite this prominent. As I move out from the shadowed area, then I make them a bit lighter. You can see that I'm just roughing in here the shadow lines where those arrows are, and that's just where the shadow, the sun's behind those trees, so it's creating shadow rather than just reflection. And so where you have shadows and you have clear water, then you can see the bottom quite clearly, rather than a lot of colour from the reflection. So that's what we're seeing here. All the golden brown area is the shadowed area, and I've just put some little marks in to show me where that is. And then out from the shadowed area, there'll be much more of the sky reflection. So I'm putting in just those darker value areas in the reflections of that mountain as well, and then strengthening up and putting in the marks for the trunks in that bank of trees there. And because it's in shadow, we don't see all of those trunk marks in the water, reflecting in the water, because it's more shadow than reflection. So that bottom layer sketch is done now, and we're moving into the sky. So what I'm going to be doing is working from the back to the front. So I'll make a nice clean back, then I'll work things over it. You don't want to have to go back and try and put the sky in around the trees after you've put the trees in. I know some artists do that. I prefer not to, so I'll put the sky in around the main branches, and then I'll put the smaller branches back in over the sky later on. So right now I'm putting the sky layers in with a very light blue, and then I will be choosing a darker blue to pop some more in. I changed hands there so that you might see a little bit better as I'm putting it in. I'm not really ambidextrous. I lost all the sound for this video for some reason, so that's why I'm doing a voiceover. There's always something when I do a video, because I'm not a videographer at all. So I often have to deal with problems later on. So that's just going in, covering up the paper, letting a little bit of that yellow show through for a bit of warmth there. I chose that buttercup yellow because it gives you a really nice warm background, which this water has. Then just block in the colours on the mountain. I'm starting off with some light pinky kind of colours, and then I'll just move through a range of colours, some mauves and blues. Sorry about my hand being in the way. I'm putting in the darker values now. As I'm doing this, I'm starting to drop those colours down into the reflections. I'm not putting them in too thickly at this time because we want to build up some layers, and that's what I'm doing up here now, just building up the layers in the mountain. Put some in the mountain, put some in the reflections, just to keep that consistent. I usually put my reflections straight down because there's got a lot of angles in this mountain. I'm actually putting it in angled, and then to get that verticality of reflections, I will just smooth them out a little bit with the side of my finger. So just check those angles that you are making, that the angle of one area of high value in the mountains is then reflected in reverse in the reflection. So remember that and just check for that. That's a little bit of green went in there for the green on the trees, and then I'm just darkening up those mountains a little bit with some grey blue colour just to strengthen them slightly. They're a little bit faded out in the photo, but they had a little bit more presence than the photo gives them. So again, just straight down into the shadows with this. So into the reflections with this. So I build up the reflections as I go, and generally speaking, your lights will be darker and your darks will be lighter in the reflections. But I find that if I just use the colour I'm using up there and pop it in, and it's a sunlit day like this, it's pretty much accurate. And by the time I've blurred it slightly and blended it slightly, it looks the right value. So you can see at the side there, I've got all the little palette of pastels I've been using so far. I'm strengthening up the little shoreline over there now, just to give it a little bit of definition, and again, straight back down into the reflections. That's where I prefer to work. Some people will put their reflections in earlier. I like to just build it up at the same time as I'm building up the main subject. I guess you could call the reflections here the main subject, but there we go. They're in. Now, what I'll be doing now is starting to move on to this colour in the foreground here, where the water is coloured warm by those tannins and it's clear. And so I'm putting in some nice yellow, warm yellows in that area, just dotting them around over the rocks that I've drawn in. And I will lose quite a bit of that rock detail. So in goes with the nice warm colours. And you notice I'm pulling them a bit out past the shadowed area as well, but they will get darkened up later on. So using a couple of different yellows to show the different values in those rocks that we can see in the reference photo there. Taking it right back up to the shoreline, bringing some of that out, because you can see at the edge of the shadows closest to me it becomes darker. And once we move out of the tree shadows, the water changes, and because we're going to be seeing a lot more of the sky reflected. As sky comes towards you, it reflects darker and a little bit more purple than further away from you. So here I'm darkening up all that area with some purples and some blues to give the sense of the light reflecting from the sky onto the water surface. So just gently pulling that, sliding that over the surface there. Back into the rocks now. I need to reinforce some of those shadows around the rocks, the base of the rocks that I've lost earlier. And so I'm just going back in with the charcoal, and I'll do that back and forth a little bit during the painting. And then a little bit of purpley colour in there. That's a lovely, nice contrast to the yellows, those warm colours. So I'll pop a little bit of that in and bring it out past the shadow area as well, so that it ties those two areas together. I don't want them to be too separate. They need something to bring them together. So going in with some even darker sort of sienna colours there. So there's the darker brown colours in the shadowed area where we can see right through the water. It's very clear. And then bringing a little bit of that out into the that darker sky reflected area, just to stain it with a bit of the colour from the water. And this is a bit of green going in that's reflected from the shadowed area. So it's not really the reflections of the trees, it's the colour coming from that big green mass, which I haven't put in yet, but which is the trees. And now I'm going to put in some of the lights I can see, where the light is coming through that shadowed area onto the area the water that we can see there. And so it's making some bright spots on that section of the water. It's all just to give the illusion of the water. So the layering helps to give depth and to create a sense of all the different colours that are coming into play. The bottom of the lake, the reflected colours, the shadow colours, and the actual colour of the water, which is the stained colour of the tannin. Here I'm putting in the shadows down into the water from all this green vegetation up here. So that's going in now, all the dark greens up there. And I'm just going to build that area up a little bit. So I'm working those trees with the darks, and then I'll come back in with some lights shortly. Over there, I'm going to put in some more of that tannin watercolour. And it comes from the vegetation that grows around the lake, the button grass plains and other trees and shrubs that grow around there. It's very common in Tasmanian waters. And again, just lightly scrumbling it over so it softens it off a little bit. You get a much softer look through the water. And then again, just going in with that charcoal and giving it a little bit of a touch up on some of those shadowed areas. So it's because it's the clear water looking through that clear water onto the bottom. And over here, it's not clear. You're getting more of the reflected colours through that section there. Not because the water's not clear, but because it's shallow and there's no shadow on it, so it's the light hitting the surface which is bringing in those reflected colours. Later on, I'll be putting some sparkle in. So I've done some of the reflections and the colour of the water, the bottom of it, and here I'm going in with the sky, the light sky colour. So as I said, when you get further away, the colour of the reflected sky is much lighter, so it's much more like the colour that you can see up in the sky behind the trees. And here it's just coming through the sky hole, so it's a little bit lighter there because it's on the very clear shadow just next to the shadowed water, and it appears lighter. You can see how that really starts to make the shadowed area zing when you put the very light sky reflections in there. And just putting some little sharp edges where it's going to be peeping through some of the branches when I finally get them in. And a very light glaze there. So the reflections are all about building it up in nice light layers. Taking that charcoal stick and making sure that I've got some of the branches that are coming out of the shadowed area there in with a bit of a reflection there as well. Just testing out a few different, I want it to be fairly dark there. And a little bit of a squiggle so it's not quite so clear. I don't want the water to be totally smooth. So I'm just strengthening up those shadows again and just dabbing them with my finger to soften them off a little bit. Just with your fingertip, and I don't smear it, I just dab, dab, dab. I'm putting in the lighter tops of those trees and shrubs now, so that's going in with just a lighter green. And you can see it's all sideways. I'm lightening it up with sideways and moving my hand around to get different shapes, but using the length of the pastel, not the tip of it. Even lighter colour going in now. A few places there. That's bringing those trees a little bit further forward than the reflection behind it, and really lights now going in. They're cooler than the water, the lights we've put in the water. Now I'm putting a little bit of that yellow that I put in the water just up there as well, just a touch of that. Going back in with my darks to strengthen them up. So it's a bit of a play between lights and darks, just working back and forth with the various greens till you're happy with the overall feel and the look of your tree area there. It's looking a bit dodgy in there where that one main trunk is, but I'll fix that later on. Here I'm really strengthening up some of those shadows. And down here along the shore and underneath that overhanging branch there. In with some more charcoal. And you could use a pastel for this, you could use a pastel pencil, but I quite like how the charcoal works for these branches. And I will soften them off later with a little bit of light on them as well, so they won't stay quite so dark there. But you can see how easy it is with the charcoal to get nice little bits of movement for the sticks and the branches. And then I need to put a branch in underneath here. So this is the backbone of the painting. I lost the video at this stage for some reason, the last bit of the video. So here are my final changes. I put in a few little extra rocks there, and I added some more lights to the foreground and a little ripple on the surface of the water there. So that's just helping it all to come alive. And then I do a little downward swipe with the side of my finger to just blur everything off slightly. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you'd like to see some more, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.